gonna use a microphone, so if you can't hear, please let us know.
And we'll talk
Try to
logic. And again, this is just my opinion, but to me, 1942 was probably the biggest change in Frankoma pottery for items introduced, discontinued, or 1 year only. I got just a sample up here of, these are all 1942 items. Some people are gonna say, well, the jugs were produced after that. That is correct. But on the chain was a 42 item only. So if you see them on a chain, they were 1942. Now you'll see them, and you'll see people that have put leather on them and everything else to make 3 jugs. That's dividing hairs there. 49 items were discontinued from the Frankoma line in 1942. And in the handout, I've got them listed according to records that I have available. Susan Cox, Maxine Sadler, Phyllis Best, Gary Shalm, and others. So I mean, you know, people are going to disagree with it. I have no issues with that because again, whether it went 42, 43, 41, I mean, you know, it's pretty fine right there. And why do you say 42 was the biggest change? Well, you gotta remember, it was World War II was going on. So did that have an impact on his workforce? Did it have an impact on his supply chain? I don't know. I would say it probably had some effect on it. 68 items were introduced and continued to be produced after 42. The wagon wheel line alone, there was 13. And then there were 77 items that were introduced in 42 and discontinued in 42. So they were 1942 items only. And again, like I said, these are just some examples of what they were. Colors that were 1942 only. And again, this kind of helps you identify pieces or time frames. Maple, silver sage, turquoise, the heavy glaze, light blue, sky blue, Chinese red, desert rose, dusty rose, eggshell white, and white. Now, somebody can tell me the difference between eggshell white and white.
The bump.
It is really tough, okay? So, like I said again, you know, somebody says, well, I got a desert rose piece, or a dusty rose. Guess what, it's a 42 item. Chances. Was it afterwards? Maybe. The oil derrick, salt and pepper shakers are probably the worst examples of trying to pinpoint what year they were made. I'll guarantee you they were made in colors before 42, they were made in colors after 42. Everybody's got examples of, they say, well, I've got this one. Yeah, you probably do. Did John Frank throw anything away? No, he did not. He used it one way or another. He didn't throw things away. He didn't throw molds away. And a prime example of this, this was a 42 item only. It was a lily pad. Guess what? There it is in Greystone. Again, this was 42. Greystone didn't start till 50, in the 50s. Yeah, 56, 57. So again, that mold sat around. Grace liked it. She introduced it. So again, right there's a prime example of, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you're right. You know, people say, well, what's this item? Well, this is a canteen vase. It's not the canteen. It does not have the loops on it. It's not the pitcher that had the spout. Again, it's a 42 item only. Colors that were discontinued in 42. And again, supposedly this is a tough one. Fawn brown, Osage brown, blue gray jade, royal blue, old ivory, or old gold and ivory. So again, if you got a piece, ivory piece, I don't have one here, I do, right there. The oldest that can be is 42 because it wasn't, you know, used after 42. Royal blue is a tough one because I know everybody's got a piece that is newer than 1942, that's in royal blue. I think that's a color that was, yeah, it's supposed to have been discontinued, but never was, really. It was used in many different items. Colors introduced in 42. Your Indian blue or peacock blue, which those are there, and white sand. So now we got eggshell white, white sand. So you got 3 different whites right there in 42 that are crossing the border of what was new, what's being discontinued. How do you tell the difference? And I think white is one of the hardest colors to tell differences between. Again, all this is relative in my mind. It was a year of change. Let's face it. I mean, you know, like I said, why would you introduce 77 items to discontinue in the same year? I mean, that doesn't sound like good marketing. Because there's some nice items here that were 42 and only 42. So again, was it the war effort that was causing issues? Was it supply? Was it workforce? I don't know.
Or was it difficulty to produce?
Well, and you bring up a good point. This is a beautiful piece in my mind, but if you come up and look at it, it's not round by any stretch of the imagination. It's got dents in, it's got dents out. Again, I think it was real hard to fire. And, yep, you know, the pressure of the,
Yeah, you can see it.
you can just see it caving in. Smaller one's pretty nice, but not the bigger one. Again, square bowls. Real hard again. You look at it and you don't see them ever square. You always almost see them all this way. I mean, it's even more pronounced on that. I mean, you can just see how much it, and again, I think it's the weight when they was being baked. Again, all different sizes, 42 only. I mean, you know, again, everybody's seen this one. Guess what? That one fits in there. There's no number on it. I have no idea what number that is or what it was used for, but it definitely is Frankoma. I mean, it just, and again, he utilized a lot of things because same piece. Again, the same way with this. Everybody's seen these with an animal or a boot or whatever. Here's the same thing. You know, so like I said, he used a lot of different pieces for different things. But again, this was 42 only. So this is a tough one. It's the little shot glass, juice glass, toothpick holder. I got, I think, 5 of them that range like this. And they'll all be
80C?
yeah, 86A, 86B. You know, it's one of those that, what was it? And again, I think that a lot of it was in the mold. It was a little bit shorter, a little bit taller, different items. This is a nice piece again. You don't see it very often, but it's a 42 item. You see the smaller ones of this, but again, it's, you know. So anyway, feel free to come up and take a look at this afterwards. I have no problems with that. It's just an example of what Frankoma did and the year of change in 42. You know, it's one of those I wish Donna or Jonice was still alive to ask her what was so significant about 42. I mean, you know, I always thought 42 was a tremendous year of change in Frankoma.
What do you think the rarest color of the 42s?
Matte white.
Silver shade?
Probably the
The
white.
matte white.
Yeah, the matte white too.
We've got purple, salt and peppers in that white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prettiest, I think, is
I've seen maybe 3.
Yeah, we got,
that. You know,
we didn't know what they were.
again, I don't know what the rarest is. It's, you know, it can vary. But like I said, I think one of the white pieces is probably. I think they experimented a lot with that, trying to figure that out. So,
Hey, Bob,
yes.
didn't that cigarette, the cigarette holder, Didn't they have some little ashtrays in them like that? Yeah.
This was the ashtray that went into the cigarette holder.
Yeah.
There's supposed to have been 4 of them in there. I'll guarantee you get 4 of these and you try to put them in there, unless they were perfect, you're not gonna get 4 of them in there. Again, there's even warpage on this, so it didn't take a whole lot.
And that patio set,
Oh.
man, woo-hoo-hoo,
Yeah.
that is folded in.
So, I mean, they had a lot of issues with, you know, with the bigger pieces, trying to keep them in alignment, especially if they're heavy. So,
Well, and then also, don't you think that, the difference in the piece itself, the difference in the clay and the shape and all that, and then the difference in the different locations of that big kiln.
oh, yes,
Had
it had to
lot
make a
do with
difference.
it.
You know, how hot it was, you know, how cool, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, yep. Well, and again, I don't know that much about pottery per se, but even the moisture contents probably
Yeah.
had a big impact on how it warmed or didn't warm. So.
Bob,
Okay.
I think John Frank was real quick to get rid of things in the line that didn't sell.
Yeah, well, and that's probably the bigger
Didn't
pieces,
sell.
yep.
It was
Yep.
discontinued.
Well, and especially if it wasn't perfect, 'cause, you know,
Yeah.
like that, you know, if you look at it today, you say, nah. It's beautiful, but like I said, it's,
Johnny's once told me that Grace Lee was adamant about stuff going into the seconds room if it wasn't perfect.
yep. So,
And it's all about making a living, so
Yeah.
everything that went to that second
42,
room.
we've always speculated, it's such an odd time because that was the height of the war for this country. Getting there, everything was ramping up for that, yet this creativity, this creative spurge
yes.
that came out of Frank Homa and a couple of the other potters at the same time.
And that may be the reason why some of these, 'cause, you know, if you look at a lot of these are smaller pieces. So,
I think a lot of the smaller pieces like that also were made in Japan prior to the war.
well, yes.
And when the war started, that was the end of that.
And I didn't bring up a good example, was a lot of salt and pepper shakers were 42
Yes.
only. And I didn't bring them out here, but almost all of 42 salt and pepper shakers, there's the vast majority of them. So again, it's something that was utilitarian, could be used, could be sold, and everybody needed them.
And some of the small animals.
And some of the small animals, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, there's, like I said, there's 77 different items that were started and ended. So,
So for some reason, some of the salt and peppers they decided they could make very well, they sold very well, and some of them that
you think, yeah,
you think,
The modern.
would stay with
Yeah,
it.
the moderns,
yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your collection? Is this your
Yes.
personal items?
Yeah,
Are
these
you
are all-
selling any of it?
There'll be a few pieces for sale tomorrow, yes.
Come in the morning at 8 o'clock. It's possible.
Some of these are hard to part with and some of them, it's like, yeah.
The older you get, the easier it'll be.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,